Along with the more recent global surge of anti-Semitic hate and violence, Jewish cemeteries have remained a long-time traditional target. Nonetheless, most American Jewish cemeteries today, like this one here in Everett, Massachusetts, survive, still function, remain whole. It's an entirely different story, though, in Eastern Europe, where in the wake of the Nazis and the Holocaust, entire Jewish communities were wiped away. Their cemeteries themselves becoming as buried and forgotten as the dead who lay in them. But today, in one of those communities, one of those long-lost cemeteries is re-emerging.
I'm a Holocaust educator, and in August of 2015, I went to Poland. Josh joined me when my program was over, and I said, let's go to Bialystok because I knew my family was from there. My great-grandparents were murdered in the Great Synagogue Fire, which was June 27th, 1941.
Amy and Josh Deegan, who live in Groton, Mass., did indeed visit Bialystok in 2015, as well as the city's Bagnovka Jewish Cemetery, or what was left of it.
And I actually have a picture of Josh walking in, because he was ahead of me, and his hands were on his head because he couldn't believe the condition of the cemetery.
So the Nazis destroyed the Jewish people of Bialystok by murdering them, whether it be in the Great Synagogue Fire or through concentration camps. What ended up happening as a net result was there was no Jews left in Poland, specifically in Bialystok, a town of 300,000 people, to take care of the cemetery.
Following the war under the communist regime came decades of deliberate neglect.
It became a stomping ground for vandalism of headstones to be used in foundations of people's homes, for barns. People went in there and there were tens of thousands of vodka bottles shattered all over the cemetery. And then the cemetery got reforested, because after 70, 80 years, that's what occurs.
Despite some local efforts at restoration, larger help and equipment was desperately needed.
And I said, this is what I do back at home. Now, if we can get the right permission and rent the right equipment, and I bring a team of people back next year.
And they did. A landscape contractor, Josh did get the right permits and equipment, and in August 2016, in 1 week, the Deegans and a few volunteers set over 300 headstones, some weighing nearly a ton. Except for COVID in 2020, they've returned every summer. In 2018, they formed the Bialystok Cemetery Restoration Fund, and the number of volunteers has grown dramatically.
This year, there was 60 people involved with the project, and volunteers from all around the world, from Canada, from the United States, from Israel, from England, from Germany.
Not everyone involved in the project is Jewish, right?
Correct. Obviously, all the Bialystok volunteers, there are no Jews left in Bialystok to speak of other than a handful. And they understand that the history of the Jewish people isn't just the Jewish people's history, it's Bialystok's history.
Alan Hoke, a friend and Groton neighbor of Josh and Amy, volunteered over the first 2 years of the project.
I mean, we had never seen anything like this. It was a giant jigsaw puzzle that we were faced with when we walked through the gate. And we were just stunned by the enormity of the project.
As someone who is not Jewish, what was it that attracted you to want to be part of the cemetery project?
I had never done anything like that before. I imagine there are lots of people out there who, if given an opportunity, would also like to do their own good deed. And for me, it allowed me to help right a wrong and give the respect and dignity back to these souls that had been taken from them decades ago.
The work isn't easy in the summer heat, 8 to 10-hour days, Josh leading the excavating work and Amy leading, well, just about everything else.
I tend to be there around 8:30 with my volunteers, and so we're constantly schlepping water, and then we scrub down the stones, and there's a lot of lichens and dirt. Some of the stones fell face down.
The project has also created a database allowing Bialystok descendants anywhere to come to the cemetery and possibly reconnect with their families past.
A lot of tears, a lot of tears. A lot of people in shock. The most recent family that was there, their great-grandmother died after childbirth, and their grandfather survived. And on the stone it says, I don't want to get emotional, it says that you are now obligated, the son is now obligated to care for this stone. And they didn't know that they would ever see it.
You see the hugs. You see the look of disbelief on their face. They touch the stone with their hands and they're just overcome by emotion. It's unbelievable. It brings me to tears.
With another summer in Poland now behind them, the work continues. To paraphrase the Passover saying, next year in Bialystok.
It's just doing something that we know should be done, and so to show the community and Poland that these were people that were here.
It's like, let's dedicate ourselves together to righting this wrong because there's nobody else to do it.